So you got the first preseason game tonight against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's officially game day because as soon as it's over, we're going to want week one to get here as fast as possible. But not going to list things from least important to most important in this video, but kind of talk about everything because I think there's a lot to look at in this game. And this is where things are going to start to heat up for the first preseason game when it involves the Eagles' final 53 and the roster itself. So let's get straight into it.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Well, the Eagles preseason is here, and we have a lot to discuss now. It looks like Zach Taylor, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, it seems like Joe Burrow will play, several series in this game. Don't know about T. Higgins, don't know about Jamar Chase or anything like that, about the other weapons regarding the offense, but Joe Burrow, the Eagles will have a good test against him. So hopefully that goes well. Now, to kind of go into everything a little bit, I want to see the defensive tackles, Number one, I think it's going to be Ty Robinson to see if he's going to be in that second rotation. I know you have Byron Young on the backside since Thomas Booker was traded a couple days ago. Jalen Carter won't get snaps. Jordan Davis won't get snaps. And you have Moro Ojomo, which we'll see if he gets snaps in this game. Ty Robinson is really the big question mark and just needs more work because I don't think he's had a bad camp. I just don't think I've seen enough from him being too productive in camp. I've seen him get some pressures in camp, and I've seen him get at least a sack against the third-team offense. So it's not much, but it's not too little, and I just want to see more from that position. It would be nice to see Jordan Davis play just because, from the amount of weight he's lost and how much shape he's in. I kind of want to see what that pass rush looks like with him, but most likely your first-team DTs will probably not play, and it comes down to probably Moro Ojomo and, Ty Robinson putting in that work. So that's pretty much DT of what I'm really looking at right now. Now we're going to go to the most important one of them all, the cornerback position. Since Joe Burrow is playing, it's going to be a really good test for these corners. Want to see Keely Ringo, want to see Adoree Jackson. That competition is brewing and apparently is close by Vic Fangio. Not sure about Jacorian Bennett. I'm not sure if he's going to play in this game, and let me know if he is, because if he is, then great. But he hasn't had enough practices. He literally just got here the day before camp. 2 days before camp, and they had walkthroughs on Wednesday. So I don't think I'm expecting Jacorian Bennett that just got traded here to play in this game. I think we'll wait till next week for the Browns, 2 joint practices and then the preseason game there. So there'll be a lot of work for him. I want to see Eli Ricks work on the inside. I want to see Mac McWilliams that was injured with the quad injury for a couple weeks. He came back a couple days ago, which was good as a limited participant. So hopefully he's playing. I think they want to see somebody that could take over at that inside corner spot, whether it's, another couple years from now or something like that, so they could start moving DeJean all over the field. So I'm really parading for Eli Ricks and Mac McWilliams at this point. But it comes down to outside corner, it's just too close right now to even decide what's really going on. These are 2 guys that are in competition that it seems to be like there's nothing really going on. And I'm sorry to say, but I don't think Fangio likes Adoree Jackson. And Keely Ringo for a 4th-round pick, they're just putting way too much pressure on him. And because of this offseason and how Howie Roseman treated it, taking big shortcuts, and really didn't help this position and didn't retain guys or didn't try to retain somebody, it's really hurt this group. And I guess we're going to find out from a first preseason game where these guys are and what they look like, because if they're getting beat by Darius Cooper and they're getting beat by Elijah Cooks in camp, then it's a big problem. So cornerback is definitely one of the most important ones I will be eyeing every time a ball is thrown by the Bengals. I will be looking to see who is in coverage on that play, and I'll be keeping statistics of all that. Now, the safety position's another one where, Andrew Makuba finally got back to practice a couple days ago on a limited capacity. He actually made a play at practice, a PBU a couple days ago, and then had a flag after that. But I'm glad that he is back, and I'm not sure that he's going to play in this game. Fangio did say that probably not. He's probably not going to be in this game, which really sucks because he's a second-round pick, and he's designated to really start at this point. Didn't really hear much during camp about Sidney Brown at all. Trisha McComb's back there. Andre Sam's back there. So there's really not much, to go off of since Makuba's not playing, which would have been a little bit more exciting if he was playing. But can Sidney Brown pick up a backup spot? That's going to be the biggest question. Is he only going to be a special teamer for this team going forward? So safety is another eye-opening one to really look at. Now, talking about the linebacker position has been probably the premier position at camp finally after a lot of years. And with Zach Bond missing a lot of time, and he most likely won't play, and Dean being out and probably will be out for a while, these other guys have opportunities now. Jahad Campbell, the first-round pick, showing up the first day of practice, and really ever since then, he's been lights out. He's almost to a point where Fangio said the training camp process is really disappearing behind him, and he's really coming into his own as a player, that he's most likely ready. And not sure if he's going to get playing time, but Campbell, from a standpoint and coverage to maybe being an edge rusher with the second team, has gotten better, but still needs to work at it. But as a linebacker in general, from sideline to sideline, and his presence really being felt, seems like the players feel like he's going to be a big problem for a lot of opposing teams this season. I really like Small Munden as well. I think his coverage has been good. His downhill has been really good, being disruptive as hell when he goes, and gets pressure and things like that. I think he's had a really strong camp. I think Trotter Jr. has had a really strong camp as well. I want to see if Trotter Jr. Has gotten better with his tackling. I think one of the biggest issues with him last year was he just couldn't, he would wrap around guys, 3-4 yard loss, and then would let them go. So the little tiny things like that, it looks like he actually gained some weight, gained some muscle, which is really good. And I think Trotter Jr. has been absolutely fantastic too. So I think the linebacker position as a whole has been, I think, one of the biggest strong suits of this defense, probably the entire team, to be honest with you. Now, I think there's a lot of pressure on the edge rushing position this year because after, Nolan Smith really came into his own from middle to the end of the season, Jalix Hunt really came into his own late in the season. Then when hitting the playoffs, it was almost lights out for both of those guys. And I expect them to, I'm not really sure if they're going to play in this preseason game. Maybe Jalix Hunt gets some snaps. Like I said, some guys just have to play just a little bit. But I think on the back end of things, I think Joshua Uche, as a natural edge rusher, because he had double-digit sacks a couple years ago, got traded to KC last year from the Patriots, and because of Spags' defense, he just couldn't learn anything from the middle of the year. It was really hard for him to catch up, but he has made some really good plays, and I think we have to watch out for him. And he actually took over a couple practices ago in front of Jalix Hunt as pretty much the first rotation when it comes to edge rusher opposite of Nolan Smith, which is absolutely amazing. Azeez Ojulari is another guy, and if the Eagles can keep him off the injury report, I think this is a guy that's going to make a lot of noise. He already has done that. He beat Jordan Mailata on the last day of practice before we got into walkthroughs on Wednesday before this preseason game, and I think he's really starting to come into his own as well. You have a couple guys between Uche and Ojulari that are on one-year deals. They both have chip on their shoulders, and they need contracts. They need some monster contracts after this year for the 26 offseason. So these are two guys that are going to put in a lot of work, and I think both of those guys could potentially make the team to kind of complete this edge rushing position, depending on, how many guys they're going to hold on to. So the edge rushing position, competition-wise, I think it's been the best during this camp, and I think you're going to have your answers really soon. They're a lot faster than we all expect, so just wait on it. Now, I'll talk about the wide receiver position because, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jahan Dotson will probably not be playing in this preseason game, most likely not. But the back end of things has been really interesting because I think we've been kind of starving a little bit for a receiver to kind of like show up and really show out. And I think it's happened. Darius Cooper has been really good. He has got a lot of speed. And then you have Elijah Cooks. Elijah Cooks is cooking in Eagles camp, and he's looking like he might be the number 4 receiver of this team. Johnny Wilson, on the other hand, he's got value in blocking, but I'm hoping he doesn't lose a roster spot here because his catching has been very suspect. It hasn't been good at camp, and if they're just going to keep him because of blocking, I'm not really sure, depending on how many receivers they're going to keep on this roster, whether it's 5, whether it's 6. Between those two numbers, I'm not really sure. And then you have Terrace Marshall coming back now. So Terrace Marshall will probably play in this preseason game. He just got back the other day from practice. He's been out with a leg or a knee injury, something like that. And he was the first receiver really making the receiver room really uncomfortable with the competition. That's what A.J. Brown said at a press conference, and that was really good news. The only thing about Terrace Marshall that's really held him back as a second-round pick, whatever he was, it's really been his health. 24 was really the only year he was healthy because he wasn't a prime starter that year. And now getting a lot of offseason work. He already dealt with an injury being out a few days already. And now coming back, let's see if he can make the competition wide receiver a little bit more interesting against Darius Cooper and Elijah Cooks. If Terrace Marshall can get it done, potentially he could win that number 4 job, or maybe he'll be the 5th receiver. And I think that unfortunately, Johnny Wilson might get kicked out the practice squad. It could happen. Now the running backs. Now, I would have to say that Saquon is not playing in this game, and A.J. Dillon will probably not be playing either. Maybe he'll get a snap. Maybe he won't. Not sure, but I would have to guess that both of those guys are probably going to be out for this game. I want to see Will Shipley. Want to see how much he's grown since last season, from his speed to open space in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield, anything realistically. I want to see him in the passing game, especially because they have been using these running backs in the passing game, especially a lot in training camp. And I think one of my favorite backs that's really climbed up the depth chart a little bit, or at least made some noise when it comes to the running backs, has been Shunderick Powell, the undrafted running back from Arkansas. I mean, he's beating guys on the flat, and, he's running through Reed Blankenship with his physicality, with big runs over and over again. He's been a hard runner. He's been he's really played with a chip on his shoulder, or competed with a chip on his shoulder when it comes to training camp, and I kind of want to see him. This is a guy that's 5'7", 5'8", 185, 190, small back, probably big lower body, and can handle hitting guys like that. And I want to see more of Shunderick Powell. There's no doubt about it. Now, the tight end position. Now, Goddard most likely won't play. So, Calcaterra, I would say that maybe he will get some snaps. We'll see how it goes. But, I mean, the tight end position has been very underwhelming this training camp. I mean, Goddard's been great. The Jalen Hurts-Goddard connection, A+. Calcaterra, A+. He's been very good, very productive, okay? But other than that, like Kylan Granson, I think has been the next one that has been a little bit better than the rest of the guys. So depending on how many tight ends they're going to keep, maybe they keep 3, maybe they just keep 2. We'll see how it goes. But Kylan Granson, I think, is one that we're going to see a lot of reps from. Now, kind of looking at the offensive line, we know right guard is really the legit spot we're looking at because that's the empty hole right now. And it seems like Tyler Steen has really gotten better the last few years, and the coaching staff seems really happy. I mean, this is a guy that knocked Jalen Carter on his ass at practice, which is kind of insane. But to kind of go across the line here, depending if Tyler Steen is playing in this game or not, I mean, you have Darian Kennard that could play the right guard spot. We'll see more competition from him. Matt Pryor at the right guard spot. We'll see more competition from him as well. Drew Kendall at center. We'll see how he does as the backup center. Trevor Keegan has been hurt, just got off injury, so I don't know if he's going to play guard, play center. I know he's the third center right now. Miles Hinton, I would say that he's going to get a lot of playing time at right guard, where I think that he's going to be the replacement for Lane Johnson when he retires in a couple years. I think Jeff Stoutland's going to turn him into a Pro Bowler. It's only a matter of time. I think that man is going to take his job once Lane is gone, and I want to see a lot of reps from him. You have Kenyon Green as well that we traded when we traded Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, got him in the trade, and a former first-round pick that it looks like he's not playing the right side. He's only playing left guard. He's the backup for Dickerson, so want to see more from him as well, because you need backups for every role. They might not be superstars, but God forbid you have to plug somebody in for a play or maybe a couple games because a guy is out or something like that. I have trust in Jeff Stoutland that he will get this done, and realistically, right guard is the big hole right now, and if it's not Steen that's starting or getting reps on this preseason day, who else is really behind him? Maybe it's Matt Pryor. We'll see how it goes on who they have really behind him. And we should have a release depth chart really soon on everything. So we'll see what happens. And then we're finally down to the quarterbacks. Okay, Jalen Hurts is 100% not playing in this game, so I'm not going to waste any time talking about that. But Tanner McKee is we're finally going to see him against better defenses now. Because when we had him the last couple of years, he's been playing in the second half of games against really the lesser talent, and he looked really good. Now he's going to go against backups to starters and a little bit less than that, which is good. So probably Tanner McKee will most likely play for a quarter, and then they'll switch over to DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, that has a similar skill set to Jalen Hurts, and I think his camp has gotten a lot better, especially from his passing game and his pocket awareness. So I want to see more from him. And Kyle McCord has struggled. You know what I mean? I don't get why they drafted a quarterback this past year. And I understand, like, the Eagles like to have a starting quarterback. They like to have a backup that's already been here. And it says Tanner McKee probably is, depending on his contract the next couple of years, probably won't be here. They want to sign a free agent on a 1-year deal that's going to be cheap, which they did with DTR. And then they want to go draft somebody that could produce to get to that backup role in a few years. They like to produce somebody. So we'll see what happens with these quarterbacks. Special teams. We'll see what happens when it comes to punt return, kick return. I mean, Avery Williams is probably the number one name we're going to be talking about because I think he's done some punt return, and he was a return specialist. The Eagles signed him from the Falcons this past year on a 1-year deal. So I would say his name is going to come first when it comes to the kick return, it looks like, unless they have other plans for him. But I know they've had Will Shipley, they've had Anais Smith, they've had Giles Jackson. I really want to see the speedster in Giles Jackson, what he could do. And I want to see him on kick returns. I want to see what he could do. The guy runs like a 4.3. So, you always want to, rotate guys. And that's what Michael Clay is most likely going to do with some of these special teamers. And, we'll see, who's the better fit. And hopefully some plays are going to be made from special teams tonight when we watch. So other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. I think the one thing we have to remember here is the offense is not going to give away their cards. Kevin Patullo is not going to give away the playbook. It's going to be very generic plays. You're not scheming against the defense. The defenses aren't scheming against the offense. They're giving guys looks, okay? It's not about winning the game. It's not about losing the game. I don't care if we win or lose. Preseason does not matter to me. I'm looking at specific players. I'm looking at specific positions that need competition. And, we need to find some answers here in the next week and a half. Let me know what you guys think about preseason in general tonight. Who are the players you're really going to look close at? What positions are most important to you and why? Leave a comment in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel because we cover Eagles news every single day. I'll be streaming the game tonight and all that great stuff. And hit the like button because it helps out tremendously. You guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Shakes, what up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.